Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome back again. Uh, Now, I am going to discuss about the questions and answer paper of the 2022 2020. We have already discussed the 2021 and 2022 papers. Therefore, now here in this paper, I am not going to talk discuss about the same point we already discussed. Right, okay, let's move into the questions. The first one is the management does not have commonly accepted definition. Here, this question we have discussed already. And why management does not have commonly accepted definition? Because it is management is coming under the social science. So in social science, there are no any such definitions because all the scholars and the researchers, they are trying to produce their own definitions. So there are much more definitions and there is no any single definitions, right? Okay, so this one also we have already discussed about the managerial roles and skills. So let's see it in a nutshell. Managerial roles, there are three types of role: interpersonal, informational, and decisional. So figurehead, leader, and liaison are the interpersonal roles. Informational roles: monitor, disseminator, and spokesperson. So decisional role: entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resources allocator, and negotiator. So this is just a reminding, right? Because we have already discussed this in a last paper. So here managerial skills also same: technical, human, and the conceptual skills, right? So this one also we have already discussed. So I'm not going to waste your time here. So next question is what is the decision making process? So this one we have to put some attention because this question we have not discussed previously. So this is the decision making process. All the managers from top to bottom, they have to take decisions, right? So first step is define the problem. To take a decision, there should be a problem. So first step is to define the problem. What is our problem? And then setting managerial objectives by identifying the limiting factor. So once we identify the problem, then we have to set the managerial objectives and by identifying the limiting factors. In all objectives, there are some limiting factors. No? So once we identify the problem, we have to set the objectives and we have to identify the limiting factors, right? And then searching for potential alternatives. So we have to find out the potential alternatives, right? Decision making is what? Choosing of best course of action out of alternatives, isn't it? So before taking a decision, we have to search for potential alternatives. Then once we have figured out possible at least 2 or 3 alternatives, then we have to compare and evaluate these alternatives, right? I hope you are clear. Then the act of choice, then select the best alternative. So once we prepared several alternatives, right, then we have to identify the best course of action or best alternative. Then once we identify the best course of action or best alternative, then we have to implement the decision. Okay. Okay, so then we have to implement the decision, then renew search, again going to the potential alternatives, and then once we implement the decision, we have to follow up and control. I hope you are aware about the management function, isn't it? So the final part of function is the controlling. So once we implement the decision, we have to follow up and the control. So if there should be need any corrective action, then we have to take the corrective action because our alternative is going track out, so take to the correct path, we have to take some corrective actions. Okay, and then revise or update objectives or problem once we follow up and control. Okay, so this is the decision making process. So this is not a big deal, right? Because once you put these theories into your minds concept, so the first one, we have to identify the problem and we have to set the objectives and identify the limiting factor. Okay, and then we have to search for the potential alternatives. Then we have to compare and evaluate these potential alternatives. Then we have to find out the best alternative. Once we have figured out the best alternative, then we have to implement the decision. Then we have to monitor, control, or the follow up, and then it's going back. So this is the decision making process. I hope you are clear. So this one also we have already discussed 9 components of mission statement, and now you know what is the mission statement and what are the things should be. There are 3 components, 3 not components, right? 3 things which includes in the mission statement, and what is the organization, and what is the who are our customers, and what is the value we are going to give to them, right? So based on that, these are the 9 components of the mission statement. So customers, right? Then producing in here, when we are talking about the customers, so who are the firm's customers? That is the question to be answered, right? And once it comes to the product or services, what are the firm's major product or services? Okay, and then market, geographically, where does the market firm compete, right? So where is our market, right? Geographically. Technologically, is the firm technologically current, right? Or outdated or updated? Then growth, survival growth, profitability, profit. Is the firm committed to growth and financial soundness? Is the firm is financially stabilized, right? Okay, then philosophy. What are the basic beliefs, values, aspirations, and ethical priorities of the firm? So then self-concept. What is the firm's distinctive competence or major competitive advantage? I hope you all know about the competitive advantage. We have learned it during the econ lectures. Competitive advantage. Then the concern of public image. Is the firm responsive to social, community, and environmental concerns? Then concern for the employees. Are employees a valuable asset to the firm? Okay, so these are the 9 components of the mission statement. So in here, it's not a difficult task to give a example for these points, 9 points. Okay, so for example, if you take the mission statement for the Amoco, so Amoco is a worldwide integrated petroleum and chemical company, right? So here it's included what is their product and services. Petroleum and chemical company. We find and develop petroleum resources and provide quality products and services to our customers. Okay, we conduct our business responsibility to achieve a superior financial return balanced with our long-term growth, benefiting shareholders, and fulfilling our commitment to community and the environment. So this is one of the example. So you have to by heart one of the example to answer this question, right? So the next question is explain the process of EFE matrix. So what do you mean by the EFE matrix? External factor evaluation. So there are two kind of matrix, IFE matrix and the EFE matrix. IFE matrix is internal factor evaluation and the EFE matrix is external factor evaluation. So here this is the this is how we are going to identify the opportunities and threats, because they are external factors. Opportunities and threats we cannot control. Okay, so key external factor, under the key external factor there are five basic forces. The first one is economic force, then social, cultural and demographic and environment forces, right? And then political, governmental and legal forces, and then competitive forces, then the technological forces. Okay, so then by identifying or by evaluating these external factors, we can identify the opportunities and threats. Okay, so here once we come to the process of EXE matrix, in first step we have to identify the key external factors as per these forces. Okay, once we analyze the economic forces, right, economic stability, and it is directly deal with the purchasing power of the people, per capita income, right? So those things we cannot control. Social, cultural, demographic and environmental forces. Okay, political, governmental and legal forces. Political stability of the country. Okay, and the interest rate of the government. Okay, so these things are external factors. First step is identify the key external factor. Then we have to gather the relevant data. Collect relevant data and information related to each identified external factor. This can include market trends, competitor analysis, industry reports, customer insight. So why we have to gather this kind of relevant data? Because we have to assign a weightage. Okay. So then the third step is assigning weightage. So in here we have to assign a weightage to indicate its relative importance or significance to the organization. So normally we are giving weightage from 0, right, and up to 1. Okay, the total weightage assigned to all factors should sum up to 1, right? Therefore we are analyzing only 10 factors, maximum 10 factors in the external factor evaluation. So then we have to rate the factor. First we have identified the data factors, then gather relevant data. According to the relevant data we assigned weightage, right? Then we have given the rating 1 into 4 as per the significant, right? Then calculate the total weighted score, okay, by multiplying the assigned weightage of the rating. Then we have to summarize and interpret the data. So this is the process of the EFE matrix. Okay, right. The next question is 11 grand strategies with examples. So these are actually coming under the cooperative strategies, and we have learned about the cooperative and the business level strategies. So there are grand strategies, that mean cooperative level strategies. Okay, so the first one is we learned about the vertical integrated strategies. So there are three strategies: forward integration, backward integration, horizontal integration. Don't think that these things are in complex manner, right? Because these are very simple. Because forward integration is dealing with the distributors and the retailers. So taking ownership of companies going to take the ownership of the retailers and the distributors. That is forward integration. Because, right, then the backward integration is seeking ownership or increased control of a firm supplier. It is backward, right? If you take the process of the company, right, input, output, and the process. So forward mean what? They are the people who are going to distribute or buy your products, isn't it? So by taking the ownership of your retailers and the distributors, you can expand it to the forward side, isn't it? In the backward integration, that means seeking ownership of increased control of a firm's suppliers. So you are taking the control of the suppliers. Supply means some kind of the people who are going to give you things, right, which utilize for the production, right? So then in horizontal integration, it's deal with the competitors. It's very easy. There are common words, no, gaining and ownership, gaining control, ownership, or increase control. That is the common word in these three. Then forward integration, retailers and the distributors, backward integration, suppliers, horizontal integration, competitors. I hope this is clear. Then market penetration and the market development, product development, incentive strategies. So seeking increased market share of present products or the service in present market through greater marketing effort. So you are not going to produce a new product or you are not going to expand your market, right? So same product in same market. Keep these two words in market penetration. Same product, same market, right? In the market development, new product, present product, new geographic areas. For example, you are uh, manufacturing a tea, right? So you are going to expand it to the India. Same product, new market. Product development, same market, new product. So you are going to add cinnamon flavor tea, new product, but same market. Okay, product development. Related diversification and the unrelated diversification strategies. So adding new but related product or service. So you are producing tea, so you are producing cinnamon flavored tea. It is a related product, right? So unrelated diversification means, so you are producing tea and you are starting a new business of the coffee or something. It's a unrelated product. Okay, so then retrenchment, divestiture, and the liquidation. Okay, what is retrenchment? That is a regrouping through cost and asset reduction to reverse decline in sales and profit. So these are defensive strategies, okay? Because your company is in a decline mode. Just think. So you have to defend your company. So what you can do, you can regroup your cost and assets reduction, right? And the divestiture again mean selling a division or the part of an organization because you can't bear up the cost. So you are going to sell the part or the division of your company to protect the other half, other part, right? So liquidation mean you sell all the company's asset, right? Because the company is no more in the market. Right. I hope these 11 strategies are clear. 3 vertical integration strategies, forward, backward, horizontal. 3 incentive strategies, market penetration, market development, product development. 2 diversification strategies, related, unrelated. 3 defensive strategies. Altogether 11 strategies. So I hope this is clear to you. Right. Next question is explain the concept of organization chart, advantage and the disadvantage. So this is very easy topic, easy question. So I am not going to brief too much. So an organizational chart is a graph. So consider and focus your attention to these red colored words, right? These are the keywords here. So an organizational chart is a graphical model of the formal structure of an organization. Graphical model of the formal structure of an organization. It's a graphical model of a formal structure. The chart indicates the relationship between the various departments of the organization. Okay, so just look this organizational structure, right? So this is a graphical model and it shows the formal structure of the organization: chief manager, production, works manager, quality control, marketing. So this is the formal structure, isn't it? And this is a graphical model. And this indicates the relationship between the various departments of the organization. So you can see works manager. Under the work manager, there are foreman machine shop, foreman assembly shop, foreman dispatch. So this is the formal relationship, isn't it? Right. The boxes in the organization chart represent the formal organization positions. Production manager, work manager, quality control manager, these are positions. And the lines between boxes represent the line of authority. So you can see under the chief manager, there are 4 managers. And work manager, there are 3 foremans. So these are the lines of authority among positions. Okay. So this is the concept of the organization. Then advantage and the disadvantage. So you can read it by yourself. So it assigns the responsibilities to the individual, right? And it helps identity control property. It makes the management function simpler, and it serves as a framework of budgeting and scheduling, and it helps to give a sense of security, and it outline the fundamental relationship. Those are the advantage. Once it come to the disadvantage, and we can tell it as a limitations also, because this chart does not represent human relationship between superior and the subordinate. There is no any human relationship, and introduce obstacles in the relationship. Okay, so because this foreman assembly shop, he can't report to the quality control manager because he is working under the work manager. So these are some restrictions, isn't it? Obstacles. So omit means significant informal and informational relationship. There may be informal relationships, okay, and informational relationship, but those things are does not indicate it here. Any change in hierarchy or creation of new position result in the reorganizing. So here just think, foreman machine shop. If we promote him to the second layer, right, then what will happen? So you have to regroup this organizational chart. So these are the advantage and the disadvantage. Okay, right. So the next question, explain the process, advantage and barriers of the delegation. Here, process, advantage and the barriers. Barriers we have already discussed in the last questions also, right? So in process of delegation process, there are 4 stages, A, B, C, D. First one is what? Assignment of duties to the subordinate. So this is the first one anyway. First of all, in the delegation mean what? Delegation mean assignment of the duties to the subordinate. So this is the first stage, right? And then once you assign the duties to your subordinate, to perform that task, we need to transfer the authority. We have to give them authority, isn't it? So then the third stage is acceptance of the assignment. So once we give them a task and the authority, then subordinate has to accept it. If not, what will happen? It is again going to the assignment of duties. We have to assign the duties to the another subordinate, isn't it? So then chain of responsibility, creation of responsibility. Once we accept the assignment, as a final stage, we have to create the responsibility, right? So this is the process of the delegation: assignment of duties, transfer the authority, acceptance, and the creation of responsibility. This is clear, I think. This is not a big deal, right? Then these are the advantage. So once you delegate the power, so the superior will reduce the excessive burden, isn't it? So then he can engage in very challenging jobs, right? To provide opportunities of growth and self-development of the junior executives. So once we give the authority and delegate the power to the juniors, right, subordinates, so he or she also may use his power and learn how to utilize power to get the works done from the subordinate, right? So this will help them to enhance their skills and leaderships, and to create a team and experience and matured manager. So this will enhance the team spirit, because once you delegate the power to your subordinate also build some confidence on you, right? And to improve individual as well as overall efficiency, because it's very difficult to people cannot people get stressed quickly. Once you overload it, your efficiency will reduce, isn't it? So by delegating your power to your subordinate, so you can reduce your workload, isn't it? So it will facilitate to enhance your efficiency. Okay, so then leads to motivation of subordinate and facilitate efficient, right? So these are the advantage of the delegation. And here these barriers we have already discussed, right? Part of the manager, part of the subordinate. So I'm not going to describe in detail on this part. So unwillingness of the manager to delegate authority, fear of competition, lack of confidence in subordinate, lack of ability to direct, absence of control that one of come in troubles. So decider dominate the subordinate. So these are the part of manager. And the subordinate side, it's clear that most of the subordinates are depend on the manager, and most of them are, they don't like to get the criticism. And some managers, they are giving authority but they are not giving the lack of enough information. And then absence of positive incentives, most of them are lack of self-confidence, and they are failing and difficulty in the decision making, no good relationship, positive relationship, and undue interference by the subordinate superior, and the fear of being exposed. So these are the barriers of delegation. So here this one, right? So this is these questions we are discussing in the first time. So define the principles of the organizing. So unity of command, right, and direction, chain of command, then span of command, then division of labor, coordination, authority, responsibility, balanced responsibility and authority. Here, what do you mean by the unity of command? Unity of command can be described as a principle in organizational management that emphasizes the importance of each individual within an organization having a single designated superior manager to whom they directly report. So in simple term, right, in simple term, uh, in simple term, the unity of command is emphasizes the importance of each individual to have an immediate superior. Emphasizes the importance of each individual to have an immediate superior. Why? This clear ensure clarity in reporting relationship, avoid confusion, and promote effective communication and coordination within the organization. Because if you have an immediate superior, right, so you are liable to him for anything, right? So this ensure the avoid confusion, and it promotes the effective communication because you are going to report to him, right? This is the unity of command. So there are some key aspects: clear reporting structure, avoidance of the dual subordination, accountability and responsibility, efficient communication, coordination of decision making, right? So this is very important in hierarchical organizations such as military. Okay, so then chain of command. Chain of command is the formal hierarchical structure and line of authority. Okay, formal hierarchical structure and line of authority. So formal channels through into and information and instructions transmitted. So chain of command is formal hierarchical structure. So that is the line of authority. So that is the chain of command. For example, we have top level manager, right? Then under the manager, there may be as we discussed in the here, as we discussed this one. So chief manager, then under him production manager, work manager, quality control manager. So this is the chain of command. Okay. So then the span of command. Span of command mean number of positions that directly reports to the one individual. Number of positions that directly reports to the one individual. For example, just see here work manager. Under the work manager, there are three foremans, isn't it? So these three foremans has to directly report to this work manager. So this is the span of command. Okay. I hope these three keywords are clear to you. So division of labor, coordination, authority. Authority mean it is the right to make decisions and carry out and direct others. Right to make decisions and carry out and directs others. This is the authority. And responsibility. Obligation to carry out duties. Obligations to carry out duty. So that is the responsibility and the balance between responsibility and authority. So these are the principles of organizing, right? So this has repeated. There's a repetition. Okay, this one. Define the power sources of leadership. Right. There are basically two types of power: positional power, position power, and personal power. Right. Under the position power, there are three segments: legitimate, coercive, and the reward power. So what do you mean by the legitimate power? This power is derived from the leader's formal authority and position within the organization. So since you are a manager, right? So you are entrusted some authority, power, right? So that is the legitimate power. If you are a HR manager of the company, so from the top level, so you have given some authority, isn't it? Power to deal with your subordinate. So that is the legitimate power, right? It's the leader's formal authority and position within the organization. Coercive power. It's a power involves the leader's ability to impose punishment or negative consequences of subordinate for non-compliance. If any subordinates under command to you did wrong thing or is not working under your command and negligence, so you have some powers to impose some punishment or negative consequences on him, isn't it? So that is the coercive power. And reward power, that means if your subordinate did any good thing, right, and he shows continuous interest to achieve the organizational objectives, right, so you have authority to give some incentive. So this is the reward power. I think this is clear. So then personal power, there are two types: expert and the referent power, isn't it? So what do you mean by expert power? It is derived from the leader's knowledge, skills and expertise in a particular domain. right? So just think, uh, you are a manager of a hardware company, right? So you have sound, just think you are HR manager in a company. So you have master in HRM, right? So you are expert in the labor law, occupational safety, such kind of thing. So that is the power. It's coming from your skills, knowledge, experience in a particular domain, right? That is expert power. Referent power, it is coming from your personal qualities, charisma, and ability to build a strong relationship with the subordinate, right? So this is coming from your skills, not the skills, your personal qualities, referent power. I hope these powers are clear to you now. Positional power and the personal power, legitimate, coercive, reward, expert, and the referent. Okay, right. Explain the situational theory, leadership theory. It looks like big complicated, isn't it? So, but it's not like that. So in here, situational leadership, the concept or the theory behind this leadership concept is there are three kind of theories now, basically. Trait theory, behavioral theory, and the situational leadership theory. In trait theory, it's mentioned that the argument is leaders are born, right? And in behavioral theory, leaders are made. But the situational leadership theory is far more beyond them. The argument of this one is leaders can be changed with the situation. Okay, according to the situation, leaders can arise. Okay, so right in here we can see there are four types of leaderships: directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. You can see it in these four quadrants. Right here, you can see supportive behavior in y-axis and the directive behavior in the x-axis. Right, in this the rightmost chart you can see in here in x-axis directive behavior, little to lot or low to high, and x-axis supportive behavior, low to high, right? In here you just focus your attention to the followers development level D1, D2, D3, and D4. Once you just think you join a company, you get a new, you are a HR manager, so you got a new, you are a manager of the company and you got a new employee. So in this guy or this employee has a high commitment, okay, but low competence because he is new to this job. So he has high commitment and low competence, isn't it? So you need a high directive behavior, right, rather than the supportive behavior, because his lack of competence, lack of skills. So you have to direct, so you have to tell what you have to do and how you have to do. Okay, so this is the directing behavior, right? S1 is directing. Then followers development plan level 2, that means you have given some additional task. Okay, that means, so people with some competence and some commitment. Okay, once the employee engage in a work for a long time, the enthusiasm and the commitment is reduced, isn't it? And the competence also, skills also sometimes reducing. So here, in this followers development level in D2, follower competence is reducing and the commitment also reduced. Okay, so then you need to act as a coaching. You have to enhance the competence as the commitment as well in D2, right? Coaching. In D3, that means you are assigned a new task. Okay, that means he has a high competence but wavering commitment, right? Because he has less confident, can I do this or not, but he has skills. Follows development level D3. In here you have to act as a supporting level. You can see supporting behavior is high, directive behavior is low, because you have to support him, right? You have to keep his morale up. Okay, you have to support always. You can do this, you can do this, right? So you have to, because he has high competence, he has skills, but the problem is the wavering commitment. Okay, right. Then D4. D4 mean that employee is good in commitment, he has a high commitment and high competence. So you can delegate the power. Right? So little bit confusing. Okay. Let's see this the leadership theory situation in summary, in a nutshell. Followers development level D1, D2, D3 and D4. Okay. So here in D1, a new employee. He has commitment but lack of skills or competence. Then you need to direct him. Okay. And the followers development level D2, you assign a new task. Right? Then he has some competence and some commitment. Because it's a new task. Okay. Lack of skill for the new task and the lack of commitment. So you have to act as a coaching. Then the followers development level D3, that means he has engaged this work, the same work for a long time. So he has developed the skills, high competence, but his commitment is reducing because of the boring. If you do the same thing for a long time, it gets boring, no? Isn't it? But you are master on this subject. High competence and the wavering commitment. So here supportive role you have to play. And then the development level D4, that means your employee is very and high commitment and the competence. So you can delegate your power. So this is the situational leadership theory. I hope you got some sort of idea. Right. And then describe the types of the follower. I am not going to teach you, describe you with you, because alienate, effective and passive and conformist we have already discussed previously, right? If you want to get idea, you can watch the previous one. And this motivation theory, there are two types of theory, content and the process theory. And here also we have discussed the content theories and the process theory also in last part. So I'm not going to discuss it here. So that's all for today, and we have discussed the lot of important part in here, such as the grand strategies, 11 grand strategies, then concept of organizational chart, and then delegation process, right? And principles of organizing, leadership power and the situational leadership. Right. Thank you very much. If you have any doubts, please contact me. Thank you very much.